Yeah, that's right. iDubbbz said to Ethan Klein, "This is not what podcasts are. Trauma dumping or something." Anyways, mate, what after you got exposed by your ex-boxing coach, your charity boxing, that's not what boxing events are. Spending all your ticket money on flying out a bunch of quote-unquote communists and sex workers so that you can lounge around and give each other rewards and socialize with these weirdos. That's not what charity boxing is.
Details that you guys shared with me. For example, one being that I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anissa did in fact pay for Hassan and all of his compatriots to travel to and stay at Creator Clash 2.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like some place, like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all. And then the second year they did that full hotel for 300 creators. They flew a lot of people in. One of the people they flew in was Froggy Tonic, and they flew him in from France.
That's insane.
And Froggy had told us that he was there to salvage the documentary.
Yeah.
And that was super offensive to us because we're like, what do you mean salvage the documentary? And he said his job was to go around and like film Anissa having interactions with everyone. So we didn't know if that meant they were going to make the second documentary about how, or the actual documentary about how like Anissa was responsible for the event, because she did put a lot of work in for the first event and she did put a lot of work in for the second. But at the same time, in the first event, she didn't get credit for it. So she felt like she deserved all the credit. So I think that's why they paid Froggy Tonic to come film her and follow her around for the second event. But yeah, they
the absolute ego on this bitch, right? So because the first one was a stunning success, apparently they made 1 million for charity. Well, you probably could have made more, to be honest with you, just doing a charity stream. I'm not gonna lie about it. Like, this whole charity boxing thing is kind of stupid because you've got to put all the money in, right? So you've got to pay for the event with ticket sales, and then whatever's left goes to charity. They probably could have raised the same amount of money with a charity stream, and it would have been a lot less effort, and more of people's money would have gone to charity instead of half of it having to pay for the fucking stadium, people boxing, and everything else. So, yeah, this whole charity thing, this whole charity boxing, in my opinion, is just bullshit to begin with. But anyhow, she wants to take credit, right? Because she didn't get to take credit the first time. Because everyone was like, oh, it's iDubbbz event. Well, because it was a failure, did she take credit when it all went wrong? No, she didn't. Where was she? She never really apologised. She never was in the video. She made iDubbbz do the apology video. She made him do the apology stream. And he had to take all the flack. And she never took any credit for that. So when it's a W, she wants to take the credit. When it's an L, oh, it's all iDubbbz, or it's all him. That's a bitch.
Flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive.
Yeah, I know.
Can't afford to fly out his own father, but he can afford to fly out these weirdo communists from France for some reason. Froggy Tonic or whatever hell he's calling himself. Weird communist editor who, oh, he's just a friend, guys. He's just some editor I had. Just some editor who I flew out to my boxing event and paid him a lot of money to film a documentary that we didn't release because it was embarrassing, because it was a complete failure. Yeah. To be fair, he didn't want his dad there because the guy hates his own father because his father was harsh on him. And he's so traumatized by that, the boxing coach reminds him of his father, and he had to cry about it. In every single boxing session, he had to have therapy with the coach there. And the coach had to talk to him differently or something. Oh, it's just so stupid, honestly. This guy is just so pathetic. This guy is a content cop. This is the guy who used to, I don't know, just go up to like some random teenage girl and just shout the N-word right at her as a 27-year-old man. This is the guy who bullied Leafy for having no chin. Bullied Keemstar. Those guys are way tougher than him. My God, where are they? All of them, I honestly have a more successful life than this guy. He has to have a therapy lesson for every single boxing session. His boxing event went bust. He couldn't even properly run a charity event, and his wife has him on a leash.
It's pretty sad. And Froggy Tonic told me directly, because I met him at the hotel, right, where we were all staying at in Tampa for CC2, And he was like, "Oh, you're the videographer that has all the content of Ian sparring." And I said, "Yes, I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this documentary, but it never came out. So I heard that you're taking it over now and you're going to help with the editing." And that's when Froggy Tawny told me that, yeah, Ian and Issa brought out his whole crew from France.
His whole crew?
I think it was just him.
Well, he had a few people that were holding the cameras, his camera guys. Because the interesting thing was that usually when like someone is a videographer, they would be the one filming most of the time. But it was interesting to me that
he was just directing.
Yeah, he was more directing.
This fucking guy thinks he's Spielberg?
Scorsese.
What the hell's going on?
Camera people with him.
Actually believing it. But so for that second event, so I tell him he needs to do 2-a-days. This is like 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, we need to do your 2-a-days. And I said, my brand is at stake. Well, he went and told Anissa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad and she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now. And we're like,
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that, you know?
Yes, completely. Well, and that's the thing. They said you guys didn't promote enough, but they weren't honest about the fact that they were spending the money from the ticket sales on the hotel, on flying people in, on all these other things. So it was just like,
so those decisions, the gala decisions, were made while in the red.
Yes.
I have a question about that.
So she was like, we're already down 500,000. And she still had time to cancel stuff when she said that? Like, how before the event was that?
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks before the event. I mean, they knew
she could have made some last minute moves. Yeah.
They knew they were 500K in the hole long before that, right? That's just when they yelled at us about it.
Yeah.
So they could have definitely made moves to reduce spending.
She wanted that award show so bad the next day. They really, really wanted to have that award show so she could give out awards. Once again, you had heard, like Ian said, he didn't want to have the fight just end and have everybody go home the next day.
He said, I'll quote him because it's very rich. He says that the first time afterwards, he woke up and everybody was gone. And he found it super depressing because he didn't get a chance to process his trauma, which seems a little bit hyperbolic, frankly, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's like a self-inflicted charity event. I wouldn't call that exactly I wouldn't put that up with like maybe like fighting in a war. I don't know. But but I guess we all define trauma differently. But so he goes, so in that case, I wanted to throw a party afterwards where we could all talk to each other and process our trauma. And then he says, we lost money, but I don't regret throwing the after party.
Scammed his fucking audience to pay for a bunch of special people, a bunch of Bolsheviks, so that he could LARP. When him and his wife are some of the most entitled, privileged people on the planet, who despise working class people, can't stand them, doesn't want to be around them. Oh, he doesn't even want his own boxing coach to be at this special event with 300 communists and sex workers there, because these people are elite. These people deserve respect, and we've just got to go there and we've got to socialize. And Anissa Joma, you see, she has to marry a millionaire. That's the thing. She has to marry a millionaire. So, quote unquote, communist who said she had to marry a millionaire who's also a Muslim. But she didn't get the Muslim part, so she just got the millionaire. Oh my God. How privileged can you be, right? And entitled, but also hypocritical. Because she could be elitist, but not be a communist. She's a literal raging communist who says it's okay to rob people when they've got something on them that's worth over $1,000, right? And she goes around with a $4,000 handbag. The hypocrisy, it's unreal. The thing is, she's so fucking deluded, she can't even tell she's a fucking hypocrite. Look at that guy, look what he's wearing. Utterly absurd, these LARPers. Anyways, this is going to be section 1 on this boxing trainer exposing the Jomas fallout. What we've covered is Creator Clash 2 was a complete and utter scam. The whole Creator Clash concept was kind of a scam. It's just, you honestly, it would be more effective just to donate to charity, not half of it going on spending for the charity event. At that time, they didn't even raise any money for charity whatsoever. It's just, all it's about is like iDubbbz said, VidCon, it's creating the new place for creators to socialize, suck each other off. And not just any creators, by the way. Communists and sex workers. Anyways, that's part 1. I'll be covering a humiliation fetish. Does he like doing what his wife says, or is he truly a victim? That's what I'm going to be covering next time. on the second half. But yeah, that's the end of the video for now. Bye.
You look me in the eye and you tell me which one of you two let that filthy nonce back on our streets.